Hey all, and welcome back. So I'm really just getting a lot of guidance around just like trusting your gut right now. If something does not feel right, definitely trust it, okay? There's a lot of situations that are being staged in the media and in our personal lives. There's just stuff that's going on with gangstalking. This is organized gangstalking. I just want to let you know that a warning has gone out to all of the gang stalkers out there. These are war crimes. And if they are engaging in these gang stalking crimes, they are committing war crimes. And they will be charged for those war crimes. That is coming in so strong. I've also gotten messages in regards to Operation Paperclip. And this was the operation that the United States did, where they took in around 1,600 Nazis and they brought them into our intelligence community. And I have gotten really strong messages that that is not happening ever again. That will never, ever happen again. Okay? We will never bring this sickness into our communities, and we will never use them or feel like they have some information that we need in order to be a world leader, so to speak, okay? We are not using them. We are not going near Nazis ever again, okay? The Nazi regime is ending for real this time. It is going to end for real. And maybe what we're witnessing with Donald Trump is the leftover, I guess, parts of that, or the buried parts of that regime that we never saw, okay? I've gotten a lot of ties to Boy Scouts of America. I've gotten a lot of ties to the Midwest. I've gotten a lot of ties to this underbelly of these, I'm hearing, satanic families, okay? And so we are no longer going to be engaging or dealing with any of this behavior. Sentencing on the back end through the military portals has gotten a lot worse, okay? So I have spoken about this on the channel. They took down my TikTok. They banned it within 60 seconds through the Nazi headset, through Neuralink, of seeing how many views I was getting. I was getting around like 70,000 views. I literally was working on my TikTok very hard, okay? I was working on it day in and day out. Filming a lot of videos, creating a lot of content, and pumping out a lot of content. And within like a week and a half, I was up to like 14,000 subscribers, and I had around 70,000 views, okay, on some of my videos. When the person on my headset saw that I was getting 70,000 views, they banned the account within 60 seconds. So it wasn't something that they personally saw on TikTok. So I just want to talk about this, okay? They didn't personally find this through TikTok. It was being done through the Nazi headset that I am a victim of, okay? Which is part of Neuralink. It is part of the thought technologies and the mind reading technologies, which are also connected to iBot systems. Okay? And these are neuro patents, okay? They're also military patents. These are Air Force patents and they are Navy patents. And you can look up the information on these patents and you can find out the exact labs, where they're located. Many of them are in LA. Probably not coincidental. I'm pretty sure they're tied to Scientology, and they're definitely tied to Donald Trump and his evil. And they have been working around the clock on these technologies, weaponizing them as part of their one world order to move their Nazi agenda forward. And they use these technologies to fully infiltrate their victims' lives. And their victims are people that pose a threat to this regime, okay? So they got the information not by finding it on TikTok because they are a member of the executive board members of TikTok. They got it because they were on my head. And because they're able to somehow hack into the system of TikTok and they can ban an account within seconds. So I'm telling you, I know what this person looks like. He is one of my original attackers. I feel that he is directly connected to the Rothschilds, the Hiltons, and I feel like he's connected to Texas, George W. Bush, okay? He is a He's probably like a form of a black op. And he's like, in their mind, he's untouchable. He has a lot of protections in terms of men in black and other people who are getting paid probably through Cambridge Analytica or other private investment type of firms or operations. So he banned it within 60 seconds. Now, typically through TikTok, you would get a warning and then you get a strike, and that's the system. Okay. So I just kind of want to give you guys a heads up around this. Now, TikTok was commanded on the back end that their executives were sentenced to, I believe, war crimes and were supposed to be removed. I was getting commands that they were actually supposed to be killed because these are war crimes. If you are blocking any chain and command on U.S. soil, there is nothing that they can do to disprove that I am not command in this, right now. There's nothing they can do to disprove that. Okay. And so if I am telling them I am command for the United States of America, for the U.S. military, there is nothing they can do to block the chain and command. Okay. And this is something that I was doing for a really long time with my YouTube channel. I was essentially giving out, I guess, information that was important to people who were on the right side of justice. For example, if I started talking about the threats of nanobots and nanotechnologies on my channel, within 24 hours, Joe Biden was coming on and he was banning, I guess, China from creating our microchips. Okay. Like, he was doing it in coordination with what I was putting out on my channel. And I have talked about this before, that I was fully embedded in the intelligence community by this point. Okay. I had many clients who were CIA and were FBI. I had people that were very concerned for our country. All right. I also had people who were from other countries that were talking about what was going on in their countries as well. So I was coming in the middle of the collapse. They're trying to block me from getting this information out. So they're trying to get their Neuralink in. And so I essentially, I guess, accidentally became a resource or a platform to be able to get the information out so that people could do the right things, okay, on the back end. And I had a lot of those interactions with Joe Biden throughout his presidency. If I found out that Israel got a bunch of weapons and there was like stuff going on the back end, we were kind of flipping out. The next day, he would do something to negate that. He would do something where they weren't getting the weapons. It was like, we were working in coordination, okay? I know that for a fact. Everything I was doing on the back end was coming to light in the media. Now, a lot of that, now because of the changeover, bringing in little baby Hitler into the freaking White House again, now a lot of that is not happening. And I am in a position where I'm constantly playing catch up, okay? And I'm trying to figure it out. But I do want to let you know that there are people that are on people like me who have surrounded us with agents, okay, with black ops to intentionally block us and make sure that we do not get the information to the right people in power. Now, on the back end, Donald Trump was ordered to be killed by the king, okay, by the king. That was the second order for him to be killed. He was ordered to be killed over 3 months ago on the White House lawn. Those were the orders to publicly humiliate him because of the crimes that he committed against this country. And those orders were never followed through. Then he was ordered to be killed on Memorial Day. And those orders did not come through. They infiltrated the military. There was an exchange between the military and me on the back end. I was trying to interact with I believe it was the Navy, and a specific base, which I'm not going to name, but I think we know there's issues with this base. There's a couple of issues with some bases. And within an hour, all of those operations were reversed. They are working with a reverse command. They're working with Mike Flynn, Charles Flynn. They are working with Eric Prince. These are the people they're working with on the back end. Mattis is still working against us actively, even though he is a retired general, and Mark Milley is still working against us actively in coordination with Bill Barr. Now, they have all been sentenced to death. They were already supposed to be dead. When the death sentences are coming in for these generals or for these certain individuals, like, for example, ICE San Diego, they were sentenced to death. There's certain sentencing that's coming in for them on the back end. When it's not being followed through, what I'm finding out is the next day there is a drug drop-off, okay, at a location in San Diego that they did not catch. And then those monies are now funding all of these other dark operations, criminal operations on behalf of Donald Trump. And this is the truth. When the sentencing is not coming in and people are not following the commands, the next day it is so much worse. And there is a situation in those areas as a result of them not following the orders and the commands. So I have said this very candidly on my channel. We are under attack. The United States of America did declare war on Donald Trump in March of 2025 because of the inconsistency of that declaration of war and how it happened on the back end. And since when it came in, I was surrounded by his agents. They have pretty much nullified it and acted like it never happened. And then they reversed the command on me. So I went under a full-blown warfare attack by them within the next several days, okay, with a form of radiation microwave weapons on my head that I have been dealing with ever since that declaration. So back to the commands and getting the correct information out. Right now, on the back end, gangstalkers have been warned. They have been warned. And all neuroweapons and invisible technologies are punishable by death if you use these technologies. That means anything invisible, such as an invisible camera recording somebody, okay, that is recording them as a weapon to use against them, engaging in those activities is punishable by death, okay? Now, not to be confused with surveillance, where that information is being used to protect somebody. These weapons, specifically tied to Project Bluebeam and Pornhub, these technologies are used to humiliate, okay, torture and torment their victims, okay? It's a blue flash technology that is being used that I'm referencing in terms of the camera technologies. And these are all part of criminal operations. The neuroweapons are being done through the labs and through the DNA technology, okay? And I know on the back end today, anybody in the Bureau, in the Justice Department that did not protect Americans from the DNA technology, the DNA warfare, is now getting charged with all of the crimes that the perpetrators have done to the victims, okay, with this DNA technology. By essentially breaking into those victims' DNA and manufacturing it. Okay, that's the word that just came through, okay? Manufacturing their DNA to make it look like they have somebody else's DNA on them. These are full-blown setup operations. They have full-blown framing operations and setup operations. They have false agents working under fake FBI directors right now to frame Donald Trump's blacklists out of Manhattan. Kash Patel was also ordered to be killed. He has engaged in vile murder operations, along with Pam Bondi and various other people who are a part of his cabinet, including Elon Musk. And all of them have been sentenced to death. These orders have to be carried out. On the back end, anyone who is not carrying out the orders will automatically be charged with these crimes and will be sentenced to death. Now, as far as the sentencing goes, originally it was just charges, okay, on the back end. And then when people did not follow the commands, I'm sorry, let me go back because they want me to back up. So around, I want to say it was like, when would this be? Maybe the end of 2023 might have been when I was first calling in the commands. I believe I was working in coordination with people that were connected to Joe Biden and Joe Biden himself. There were warnings that went out to all U.S. military. There were warnings that went out to all U.S. paramilitary. There were warnings that went out to the Bureau. There were warnings that went out, okay, to every single form of intel agency that were going out on the back end. Warnings, okay? It didn't move into the next level, okay, which were charges, okay, until I want to say, when did the charges start coming in? It might have been the beginning of this year, okay, might have been when the charges started to come in. The sentencing then came in because the charges were not being honored. So it moved automatically from charges to these people being sentenced, okay, and no more trials, meaning they do not get legal teams to represent them. They are automatically sentenced, okay, and it moved into a declaration of war at the end of March. So then it started to move into sentencing for these people. So they were all now getting sentenced to death, okay? Then that was not being carried through. So then it moved from sentencing them to death to straight up kill orders, okay? The kill orders were a bullet to the head because we do not want any more men in black. We do not want any more black ops. We do not want any more contracts of contract killers who are doing it through the AI weapon systems. It has to be a physical weapon, a handgun, or some form of a gun with a bullet to the head, okay? So that we know that they're not doing a Jeffrey Epstein and pretending they're dead and then having a whole other criminal operation, okay? So it moved to a kill shot to the head. That's the sentencing that came in, the death sentence and the kill order for all of these Nazis, because that's what they are. And 2 days ago, it moved then from the kill shot to the head, which is a more, I guess, humane way of being killed. It moved to the guillotine, okay? That was the next commands that came in. And then today it moved to lynchings for white people, okay? So that's where it moved to today. So I just kind of want to let you all know I have justice coming in here. It's still, we're still in a place where we are in an active war. Commands came in today. Anyone who has protected Vladimir Putin on U.S. soil or Donald Trump is now being sentenced to death. Okay, I have justice coming in around that. These are full-blown Nazi operations that they have been a part of and moving through their illegal contracts, which were all nullified. U.S. military has been warned on many occasions. And a lot of the U.S. military is being run by foreign agents, okay, foreign enemies, through these kind of weapon systems, which we have brought to the light. We have told the FBI their command was Russian. We have told them, okay? We have been very forthright with the information. So the people who have not given this information to the correct people are blocking the chain of command and will be sentenced for those crimes. So I will leave you guys there. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for sharing and getting this information out to the right people. I will continue to say prayers for our country and the world, and I will talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye.